A very warm welcome to today's lesson. My name is Rima, and today's lesson is going to give you a lot of knowledge about pronouncing certain names of food. At the same time, it could make you hungry. Well, I have with me a list of food names which we end up saying absolutely wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you correct the pronunciation of each word here, which happens to be the name of one of my favorite food items. Let's see the first one. Now the first one belongs to the berry family, meaning it is a fruit, okay? It is spelt with a P, but let me tell you that the P is silent, and a lot of people call this fruit raspberry. No, there is no rasp in raspberry because that is absolutely wrong. I must tell you that this is pronounced as raspberry, okay? So it's R-A-S. That's right. So the correct pronunciation is raspberry. It's a fruit, it's red in color, it's a berry, it's very nutritious and yummy, and my favorite actually is raspberry ice cream. Okay, moving on, I have somebody from the bean family. That's right. Coca beans are famous, but is it really coca? No. You have to make sure that you know that A is silent and the pronunciation is co. That's right. Cocoa beans, which are the mother and father of chocolate, my most favorite thing in the world. So cocoa is also a drink. So when you grind these beans and actually make a hot beverage out of it, it's called a hot cup of cocoa. But always remember, never call it coca because the pronunciation is cocoa and the A is silent. Moving on, we have somebody all the way from Italy. That's right. Italy is famous for this starter. A starter means something that's served at the beginning of a meal. It's kind of small in size and it's something that gets you started with your meal. It's an appetizer almost. And this is a dish which is made using bread and tomatoes, sometimes cheese, but definitely garlic and onions. Okay, and this is, now one would call it bruschetta because of the S, but the pronunciation here is completely different. This word or this dish is pronounced as brew with an S, bruce, ke, ta. So it's bruschetta, not bruschetta as one would say it. It's actually bruschetta. So the next time you go to your favorite Italian restaurant and you're ordering for this starter, you should say, "Can I have a portion of bruschetta?" And I'm sure your pronunciation will be admired. Moving on, we have somebody who makes us cry a lot. That's especially if you're chopping it on a daily basis. Now, what are these really? Look at the O there. Onions. If you've chopped them, you know they make you cry. Or are they onions? Well, I must tell you, it's the latter. Though there is an O in the spelling, these are onions, as in the pronunciation goes onion, okay? And these are from the vegetable family, from the shallot family actually. And they're used to flavor all kinds of foods, used in all kinds of cuisines. Absolutely yummy when cooked, but when they're raw, they kind of make you cry. But don't let the pronunciation make you cry. It's onion and not onion. Always, always remember that. Moving on, we have somebody from the cheese family. Now, this very cheesy cheese is very difficult to pronounce. Now, look at the spelling, okay? It's P-A-R, which is par, M-E, which is me, and S-A-N here is a little difficult to pronounce because in the pronunciation, it's said as Z-O-N, which is parmesan. So the pronunciation happens to be parmesan and not parmesan, as a lot of people say it out. Because if you say parmesan, it kind of reminds me of a Japanese gentleman, and that's definitely not the pronunciation. The pronunciation is parmesan. Okay, so if you want some, grated Parmesan cheese on your pizza, remember it's Parmesan, the sound with a Z, and this not the sound with the S as in the spelling. Okay, let's see the next food name. Oh, who doesn't like a dish of this in wonderful melting cheesy sauce? Again, all the way from Italy. We have a dish that's used making all sorts of different things. You can use spaghetti, you can use fettuccine, you can use red sauce, you can use white sauce, you can use olive oil. What am I talking about? Well, I am talking about pasta, okay, and not pasta, as a lot of people say it out to be. It's not pasta, it's pasta, okay. So pasta is made using lots of vegetables, sometimes meat, lots of sauces, and it's a wonderful, wholesome, warm dish. Moving on, we have a superfood on our list. Now, why is this food called a superfood? It's called a superfood because it's supposed to be extremely healthy, extremely nutritious. So if you're on a diet or if you're trying to eat healthy, eat clean, a lot of people eat this, and it actually has its origins in the Middle East. Okay, now if you look at the spelling of this food name, it's Quinoa. Okay, and one would end up pronouncing it as quinoa, thinking U is silent, so maybe quinoa, but actually it's not pronounced like that. It's pronounced as quinoa. Okay, so instead of saying quinoa, it's quinoa. Quinoa is the correct pronunciation, and quinoa is a fantastic dish, again very healthy, can be used to replace any grains such as rice, is eaten with vegetables, and mostly is enjoyed in Greece and Middle Eastern countries. So that's quinoa for you. Moving on, we have somebody all the way from Mexico. Don't you just love spicy, amazing Mexican food? Well, I honestly enjoy it and cherish it. And if you've eaten Mexican food, you must have definitely ordered yourself a portion of tortilla. Or is it not tortilla? Well, it's definitely not tortilla because the LL here is absolutely silent. Okay, and the pronunciation is tortilla. And it's not tortilla, it's tortilla. So yes, it's tortilla, which is made out of flour, can be very, very amazing and healthy and delicious when stuffed with the right vegetables, the right kind of meat, okay? So it's tortilla with the LLs being silent. Up next, we have a nut that's everyone's favorite. Okay, we make milk out of it, we make oil out of it, it's used in beauty products, it's great for the tummy. And what is it exactly? It is almond. That's right, the pronunciation is ahmand because the L here is silent. I'm sure it's getting very confusing for you with all these silent letters. Don't you worry, at the end I'm going to make you say all of these words together with me one more time. But for now, we need to move on to the fish family. Now, all those people who enjoy their seafood will definitely have eaten this fish. And again over here, L is silent, which means the pronunciation is salmon. Okay, salmon. Salmon is a fish, it's a delicacy enjoyed by many, and here the pronunciation is salmon and not salmon, as like a lot of people end up saying it that way, but it's absolutely not correct. Moving on, okay, now this one's really tricky. Okay, I must tell you how this is made. So chickpeas, which are really high in estrogen, really high in nutrition, are actually ground, soaked and ground, and you get this beautiful, yummy paste which is enjoyed by people all over the world. And if you look at the spelling, a lot of people end up calling it hummus or hummus, but I must tell you the pronunciation is a little tricky. Pay attention. It's hummus. Okay, it's as in the U is pronounced as double O. Okay, so hu and mus, and the U here is pronounced as an A. So it's a portion of hummus, not hummus, not hummus. Okay, I think this one is by far the trickiest one so far. So next time you go to a Middle Eastern place, remember you're ordering a portion of hummus. Sounds good actually, doesn't it? Moving on, one more fantastic item from Italy. Now this is a form of a rolled pasta, okay? And it's pronounced as gnocchi. So the G here is silent, and there is an invisible Y here which doesn't appear in the spelling but definitely comes in the pronunciation. It's gnocchi, okay? And gnocchi is amazing when it's stuffed with lots of cheese and spinach and mushrooms. But remember, it's gnocchi and not gnocchi, and definitely not gnocchi, because that would be a big blunder. So that's gnocchi for you. And moving on, what do we have here? Well, we have something all the way from France. Something that's a great breakfast food, very popular, enjoyed with cheese, butter, chocolate, mushrooms, whatever that you want to stuff it with. And this is a bakery item, and it's pronounced as so one would say it's a croissant or a croissant, but it's actually a croissant. Okay, so the R is silent. There's an invisible W that appears in the pronunciation. It's croissant. Okay, you might find it a little weird to say this in the beginning, but trust me, as you get used to it, the pronunciation will become as delicious as the croissant itself. Okay, so it's a French word, and French words which have been adapted into English can be very, very tricky to pronounce. So croissant it is, and not croissant, like you would say it if you had to pronounce the entire spelling as it is. And the last one on my item is a spice. A very yummy spice, can be used to make dessert and savory foods, and it actually is in the shape of a star, which is why it's called a star, not anise, but star anise. Okay, so star anise is pronounced in this way and not in the way one would say like star anise or star anise. None of that is correct. It's actually star anise, and it's a spice, and it's really, really amazing. Well, that was my list of foods which we end up saying wrong almost all the time. I think this lesson has been quite a lesson for me as well. So I'm going to make sure that I remember these pronunciations and start using them from this moment on. Would you like to go over the pronunciations one more time with me? I'm sure you would. So let's do this from the top. Okay, it's raspberry. Okay, not raspberry. It's not coca, it's cocoa. It's not bruschetta, it's bruschetta. A very delicate pronunciation there, bruschetta. It's not onions, it's onion, or onions for that matter. It's not parmesan, it's parmesan, okay? Parmesan with a Z in the pronunciation. It's not pasta, it's pasta, okay? It's not quinoa, it's quinoa. Say it with me, quinoa. Sounds really nice, right? And there is no tortilla, it does not exist, it's tortilla, okay? And there are no almonds, it's almond. Similarly, no salmon, it's salmon, with the L being silent. Now this one, the trickiest one, okay, I'm going to give you a prize if you get this one right. It's not hummus, it's not hummus, it's hummus, okay? And then we have gnocchi, wherein the G is silent and there's an invisible Y in the pronunciation. There is croissant, okay, not croissant, it's croissant. And of course, the last one, it's not star anise, it's star anise. Okay, I really hope that you've learned all these pronunciations. Keep practicing them, keep perfecting them, because after all, it's food and one's got to take food really seriously. Well, I really hope that you enjoyed today's lesson. I'm going to be back with you with yet another lesson very, very soon. Till then, subscribe to our channel and keep watching.